good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you're watching us from, wherever you're watching us from, and welcome to LNTV Liberia Live. We're coming to you from the Roberts International Airport, where His Excellency is to shortly depart the country to attend the 30th session, the ordinary session of the African Union Assembly that is due to take place from tomorrow to the 16th, and that's from the 14th to the 16th in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The summit is expected to be held on the theme Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations. And this gathering will bring together heads of state and government from across the continent, and that's the African continent, to deliberate according to an executive marshal release on pressing issues affecting Africa and to establish policy priorities for the coming year. The president is now greeting members of his cabinet, and from there he will go for a short meeting before departing Liberia for Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. So welcome wherever you are. This is LNTV Liberia Live, and there goes His Excellency to be briefed shortly by, the person who's going to leave in charge, and that's Minister Sylvester Brisbane of State for Presidential Affairs, and giving some tips about what to do, what not to do as he leaves for Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, to attend the 30th ordinary section of the African Union Assembly. So members of the President's delegation include Minister Sarah Beslanyanti, that's the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We also have Mama Kabilite, the Minister of State without Portfolio. And we have the Economic Advisor, Molly Kamara. Other members of the President's delegation, according to an executive marshal release, include Senator Weston Findley, and he's from Grand Bassa County. We also have the chairman on the executive at the House of Representatives, Honorable Sekou Kanen, and they were all form part of the president's delegation. So we have 3 from the executive and 2 from the legislature who are joining His Excellency to be part of that summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So this summit marks President Boakai's first attendance at the AU summit after taking over power in January of 2024. His participation, according to the executive marshal release, underscores Liberia's dedication to active engagement in continental affairs and collaboration with fellow African nations to address shared challenges and promote sustainable development. So wherever you are, my name is Vasta Talu, and I'm here with Anthony Williams, Rachel Colley, and together we are bringing you this live coverage from the Roberts International Airport, where His Excellency is expected to depart the country to attend the 30th ordinary summit of the African Union Assembly. So Liberia is considered as a founding member of the Organization of African Unity, which later became the African Union, playing a key role in its formation and actively participating in the establishment in 1963. This connection stems from Liberian President William V.S. Tubman's involvement in early Pan-Africanist meetings and initiatives that led to the OAU's creation. Liberia was one of the original members of the OAU when it was founded in 1963. President Tubman was a prominent figure in early discussions and preparatory meetings regarding the formation of the OAU, including the significant meeting in Sanikole, Nima County, Liberia, with leaders like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana and Ahmed Sekou Toure of Guinea. So Liberia is a founding member of the OAU, and now it has been transitioned to the African Union. So active participation, Liberia has consistently, according to what we read here, been involved in African Union activities since its inception. So in July of 1959, a meeting among Liberia, Guinea, and Ghana was held in Sanikole, Nima County, laying the foundation of what is today the African Union. So Liberia has been a member of the African Union since 1959, laying the foundation and its formation in 1963. So back to today's released by the executive mansion. So the presidents or discussions at the African Union ordinary session will focus on engaging in discussions focusing on sustainable financing mechanisms for quality education and skills development in Africa, aligning with Liberia's commitment to advancing educational opportunities and economic growth. As you may be aware, the arrest agenda, an component of the arrest agenda, has to do with education. So the Liberian leader will highlight educational opportunities for Liberia and also for the African continent. And when you're educated, economic growth will definitely come about. So wherever you are, welcome to LNTV Liberia Live. We're coming to you from the Rabas International Airport. The members of the armed forces are now in full attendance, set and ready to receive and pay farewell to their leader, President Joseph Boakai, who will shortly depart Liberia to attend the 38th ordinary session of the African Union Assembly in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So while the president is away, we will have the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Sylvester Graceby, who will chair the cabinet in consultation with the Vice President Jeremiah Kun and the President via telephone. And the President and his entourage are expected to come back or to return to the country on February 17, just a day after the summit has ended. So that's how it looks like right here, wherever you are, however you're watching us from. Welcome to LNTV Liberia Live. My name is Vasta Talu. Anthony Williams is here, Richard Colley, and we have the Deputy Director General for New Media and Rebranding, Flo Flomo, who is giving all of the consultations and arrangements here. So welcome this morning. His Excellency Anthony. Okay. So welcome. We have to do some changes, so welcome. However, we'll just see how the formation of the AFL looks like here as they await, to bid farewell to their leader, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai. So the AU was founded in 1963 after, initial conversations and preparations have been held in 1959, and it involved Liberia, Ghana, and Guinea. So we had Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, who was then in Liberia in 1959. We also have the president of Guinea at that time, Sekou Toure, was also here in 1959. Sanikole, Nima County. That's symbolic. So we've been around the African Union activities since 1959, even before its formation in 1963. So it tells you that Liberia knows and feels, everything about it. Not ECOWAS, but OAU, and now it's the AU. So the president says that his participation, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai's participation, underscores Liberia's dedication to active engagement in continental affairs and collaboration with fellow African nations to address shared challenges. And what is so common in Liberia is also common in other African countries. So when these African leaders come together, they also find solutions, to these creeping challenges that are affecting not only Liberia, but the issue of electricity, the issues of good roads, the issue of building good schools, infrastructure is not so unique to Liberia. It's also unique to other African countries. So when African leaders do meet, they bring out these things and find solutions, to not just for Liberia but to other African countries. Mind you, maybe you in Liberia and think that it is only unique to Liberia, but if you travel to other countries in Africa, you get to know that these things also affect other African countries. It's not just Liberia. We have poor roads in other African countries. You also have lack of electricity. Maybe for us in other parts of Liberia, we have access to electricity, but other areas in Africa don't even have access to electricity. So these kind of issues also they affect African countries. So when the African leaders meet at these kind of functions, these are the things they want to find solutions to. They want to have international collaboration. They also want to have partnerships with other people, other organizations like the UN, the UN, the World Bank, or other countries to find amicable solutions to these kind of problems creeping in Africa. So that's why the president is going to be there, to discuss, to collaborate with other African heads of state to find solutions to creeping challenges, and also meetings or other African matters. Okay, so here comes His Excellency. Yeah, here comes His Excellency. He will now be as per tradition. Bidding farewell to members of the armed forces. And there goes His Excellency. Uh, So now, as usual, most often we normally see the aircraft landing here, but as for now, protocol has changed. His Excellency will now go to the me area to get on the aircraft, and that's Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopia Airlines, it comes from Ethiopia, and the summit is happening in Ethiopia. So there, where His Excellency is going to go, and to get on the passenger of the passenger seat of not the vehicle, the aircraft. So we are now heading towards where the aircraft is. We are heading towards where the aircraft is, where His Excellency will, get on the aircraft. We are heading to where His Excellency. This is LNTV Liberia Live, and we're hearing from Protocol. So we're still here. Some hurdles and we're still here. We're still here. We've been stopped by members of the Executive Protection Service and some, you know, airport authorities here. We just can go beyond because we don't have reflectors and everything not to get us to where the plane is. But Ethiopian Airlines comes from Ethiopia, comes from Addis Ababa. So here we are. So its participation at the summit will underscore Liberia's dedication to active engagement in continental affairs and collaboration with fellow African nations to address shared challenges and promote sustainable development. While in Addis Ababa, President Boakai is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with other African leaders on matters of mutual respect, mutual interest, including regional security, economic cooperation, and strategies to combat climate change. So this year's summit is expected to be held under the theme Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations. And it will also bring together other heads of state and government from across the continent to deliberate on pressing issues affecting Africa and to establish policy priorities for the upcoming year. And what will be the policy priorities for the upcoming year? The priorities may be based on economic development, how to support each other in terms of economic viability, education, health, infrastructure. How can all of them come together to say, okay, let's support each other? How can we come together as African heads of state and put aside our differences to tackle issues that are creeping on the African continent? We have all of the natural resources. We have the gold, we have the diamond, we have water, we have rich forests. What can we do to improve the living conditions of our people? So these are some of the things that will be key. No, yeah, I'm not going live. So we've been given the green light now to go towards where the aircraft is. And here we are. This is LNTV, Liberia Live. We're coming to you from the Rabos International Airport, where His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai will shortly depart Liberia to attend the 38th Ordinary Session Assembly of the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And we have Ethiopian Airlines will take His Excellency and entourage to that summit in Ethiopia. Here we are.
To just catching things and the flight pattern in the heart.
So the 3 day event, because it is a 3 day event, it will begin from tomorrow, February 14, and will end on the 16th. And His Excellency and Entourage will return to Liberia on the 17th. The summit is expected, because it starts from tomorrow, will be held under the theme Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations, and will bring together heads of state and government from across Africa or the African continent to deliberate on pressing issues affecting Africa and to establish policy priorities for the coming year. President Boakai, on the sideline of these discussions, will hold bilateral meetings with other African leaders on matters of mutual interest, including regional security, economic cooperation, and strategies to combat climate change. And climate change is another growing concern for African leaders. We have pollution, we have drought, we have the dry season, we have the rainy season, and as usual, people, like we normally hear from our older people, the rainy season, the rain isn't falling like the way it used to fall during those days. The dry season isn't happening the way it used to happen during those days because of air pollution, because of evaporation, because of different changes now in the climate. So these are the issues the president on the sideline of these discussions at the African Summit, Union Summit, will be having silent discussions with his African counterparts, finding solutions to these things, finding on the collaboration, cooperation, how to even address regional security, economic cooperation, as well as finding solutions to climate change. What can we do? Maybe do we need to plant more trees? Do we need to have more investment in the climate sector? Maybe through the Environmental Protection Agency, to give them more funding to support, our swamp area or areas that do not need to be built on alleyways, frantic weather conditions. Maybe plant more trees, because we see nowadays people are cutting down the trees, now planting more trees. So do we need to plant more trees in our community and stop cutting down trees so that we can have fresh air, so that we can call on more rain? Because if you see, trees are also important in society, in the community. It also help. That's why giving us shade, it also help to protect our houses. It protects us from sun rays and everything. So do we need to plant more trees? Do we need to stop cutting down our trees because we have logging companies who are maybe giving government 5 cents and 10 cents and cutting down most of our trees in the forest and everything? Do we also need to plant more trees and advance people from against cutting down the trees? Yeah, these are creeping concerns that need to be solved, and coming together as a group, as a people, as leaders will also help, because you just can't do it on your own. We have to do it collaboratively. So His Excellency will be seeking, the intervention, the collaboration of his counterparts from other African heads of state, from other African leaders, to find solutions to these things. Anthony, even though His Excellency is now on the flight, but let's talk about this climate change thing, this creeping challenge, because His Excellency, according to the Executive Marshal release, His Excellency will be having all silent discussions with other African heads of state, apart from the usual discussion, the meeting and everything, on climate change, on regional security and cooperation. So climate change, looking at, we came as far as from Monrovia, and we saw that the trees, we don't see a lot of trees these days being planted, even in the around their houses and everything. Do you think is it posing a challenge to solving issues of climate change?
Sure, definitely. I mean, climate change has posed a challenge globally. It's actually challenging globally, but it also does pose a challenge to Africa as a continent. And yes, like you said, it's obvious it will be discussed at the summit. His Excellency President Boakai will also speak about issues. Look, if we come to Liberia, let me not even make it global about the effect of climate change. Come to Liberia, just last year, the entire Cestus River got the Cestus River bridge that is as tall, very tall enough above the Cestus River, got submerged underwater. Do you understand? That entire river got submerged, that entire bridge got submerged underwater, and as a result of climate change. Do you understand? You go to the borough of Niku Town, if you go to West Point isn't what it used to look like years back, ages back. Sea erosion has reclaimed majority of the land. Homes have been broken. Look at coastal defense projects that are being implemented by government, past government, current government. Yeah. All of these are happening as a result of climate change. Global warming is I mean, the name implies. You were speaking about trees, and that's one thing we don't observe, in our neighborhoods, in our country, when we're doing construction or building homes. We don't observe the thing of this thing, planting trees. We don't see it as something that should be done. And so lots of people building their homes, they clear all the trees and all of that. And you're right. I think Liberia as a country, it's time now to see, the issue of planting trees as a significant, because nature is very dangerous when it's reacting to what have been taken from it. So yes, the continent will speak about climate change issues. Will speak about global warming issues, and Liberia is not exempted from stuff like this. So yes, it's obvious that His Excellency the President will make mention of some of these things.
And mind you, so so we were having a chit chat on the effects of climate change, and not just on Liberia, but on the entire African continent and the entire world. So we have to get back to planting trees in our community, and maybe government can also maybe review some of the concession companies and the logging companies and stop cutting down our trees, because stop cutting down our trees in our forests and everything. Oh, thank you.
I think we're finished for now. For now. Go ahead, B.
Jesus. Yeah, so we have to go back to planting trees as young people, and people. So we are taking a break, and we will rejoin you subsequently. So that's it. We hear climate change is a creeping challenge in Africa and the world, and Africa as a whole shouldn't be, even though we have the factories, we have industrial areas and everything coming in, but yet and still, as Africans, we have the natural resources, we have the natural air not to be. Okay, so we'll join you subsequently. So we are now switching to LNTV Liberia Live. We will join you subsequently.